time with family, staying active, doing what you love. We understand how important it is to live your best life, even as times are changing. At Holzer, we strive to help every patient achieve their best.
Hello and welcome to episode 33 of the Talk of the Town podcast, presented by Holzer Health System and the Gay County Chamber of Commerce. I'm Josh Wellington, Executive Director of the Chamber, and joining me today from Saunders Insurance, Brett Steinbeck. Brett, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, for people who are, I guess, Gay County natives or have been around the area a while, Saunders Insurance is a name that's been around for a long time. Tell us a little bit about, to get started, just kind of how what you know of the history of SIA and kind of how they got their start here in Gallipolis.
Sure. Yeah, so Saunders Insurance opened up in 1951. John's dad, Howard Baker Saunders, he started the office there. We are now located on 437 2nd Avenue, right across from the post office. And there are 5 of us agents in there working now. So, we stay pretty busy.
And so how did you get into insurance to begin with?
Okay, so I got into insurance about 6 years ago now. I was working another job and wasn't really happy with what I was doing. Wanted to be in the ag field somehow, and ended up stumbling across the insurance and went and got my insurance license, and so that's kind of how I got started and got my license. And then once I got into business and started learning the ropes, I really took a liking to farm and ag insurance, and that's kind of my niche or my specialty, if you will.
So your background kind of growing up as in agriculture as well, what piqued your interest? Because there's a lot of ag stuff, and we're getting ready to be a big announcement next week that we'll touch on in a later episode. But kind of what in your youth and growing up, your experiences that led you to have that overwhelming interest in the ag side of things.
Sure. I guess growing up, I was always actively involved in 4-H and FFA, and that today is still a big part of my life. I think that 4-H and FFA has a major impact on youth growing up, especially in small communities like here in Gallipolis. It teaches kids a lot of responsibility and how to speak and be outgoing and just how to interact good with people. So that holds a good special place in my heart, and just the people in the ag industry in general are just so down to earth, and they always go above and beyond to help each other out, and that's kind of why I wanted to get in the business and work with those type of people, because they just make your day go well and make your job more enjoyable, I guess.
When people think of ag insurance, I think the first thing that pops to mind is it's like crop insurance, or insurance on a new tractor or things like that. But it's more all encompassing than that. What are some things that if you're in the ag industry, or you're, maybe you're a part-time farmer who kind of meddles in, you've got a few cattle and maybe you raise, I know back when I was a kid it was tobacco, but maybe now, you're selling some hay or whatever. What are some things that people need to look at from an ag perspective when it comes to insurance that maybe they haven't thought about?
So some of the more important things that I like to see farmers have more is life insurance. So you're building a legacy to pass on from generation to generation. And although we may not have the big farms like down in this area like they do up north, it is still a family tradition down here, and it is a legacy to pass down from kid to kid. So some of the big things is life insurance. Make sure you're protected, your investments are protected to go on, passed down from generation to generation, and just make sure your family's well taken care of. And then moving back into the farm side of it, your equipment, that's how you make your money. Make sure your equipment is covered, and your barns, your house, everything you do to make your money and get your farm going from day to day, your day-to-day expenses, make sure they're covered good.
And then now, Ken, so is there insurance on, livestock, or
Yep.
I know there's crop insurance, but how does something like that work as well?
Yeah, so we can insure livestock as well. You can cover them on a farm policy, or there is actual mortality policies that you can cover your whole herd with. That's kind of how I like to insure the cattle, is on a mortality policy. That way we know that they are adequately covered, and if something happens, it's going to take care of your animals for you.
Does the cost of I guess, for lack of a better term, the cost of doing business right now when it comes to farming, fertilizer prices up, seed prices up, buying cattle to increase your herd and things like that, everything is up. Does that go into the decision making as to insurance wise? I mean, is there a kind of a hand in hand thing? Do you need to reassess possibly what you've got going on insurance wise as things continue to go up?
Absolutely. So, cattle are obviously higher, so your schedule of your cattle may be higher than the year before or the 2 years before. So, it's always good to sit down with your agent and go over your policy and check your limits, because, as you just said, everything is taking an increase. So make sure, even farm equipment has increased in value. That tractor that you have might be covered for X amount of dollars 3 or 4 years ago, last time you reviewed your policy, but
Right.
that tractor may have gained $10,000 since then. So it's good to sit down with your agent and do a yearly review and check those limits. Go over your policy. If you may have sold some equipment that you're still paying insurance on that needs to come off the policy, because as farmers, every dollar counts.
Absolutely.
To pay for that fertilizer increase or seed increase or whatever it might be.
How did, outside of obviously the increase in prices and the cost of everything, the pandemic had a hand in everything.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a little bit briefly on this podcast in the past about kind of how the insurance things changed in the early stages. People had to, when you couldn't go see your agent. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the great thing about small town agencies. Is if I have a question, I can, on my way from here personally, if I had a question, I could stop in on my way to the post office and talk about things or see what's going on or whatever. How did you notice the pandemic in your office? How did that change, I guess, first the industry as a whole, as you saw, but then also how has the pandemic changed, on the ag side of things as well?
Okay. So the pandemic, it obviously has changed everyone's life. As the insurance industry, it has changed. The biggest change I can see, I guess, is claims-wise and in billing, making payments, things like that. We used to have a lot of people come in our office to make a payment or come in and submit a claim or things like that. Well, we would shut down for an X amount of days there for a while, and people couldn't come in and see us, and we resorted to doing a lot of things via telephone or getting people to call the companies direct and dealing with somebody that they haven't even known,
Right.
which I personally don't like. I like to have a good relationship with my customers, and where they can call me and I can take care of that and do my job and things. So yeah, the pandemic definitely had an impact on our industry as far as getting those types of things reported to the companies and things like that. So we did have to resort to a lot of customer doing it on their own type of deals. But we are getting back into the old normal, coming into the office and seeing us and sitting down and chatting a little bit and then doing business, which is what we like.
Did it change anything noticeably on the ag side?
A little bit. Probably the biggest change is again is not being able to go out and meet with the farmers and do those yearly reviews. Um, just because of interaction with each other, and we was trying to keep that to a bare minimum. Um, but again, we are getting back out on the road, going and seeing people again, and going back over farm equipment and doing those yearly reviews with those customers. So
did the insurance companies, not necessarily the agencies, but the companies, did they have to change the way they were doing business as well? Kind of, not just with the filing of claims, but just it was just a different situation, and I feel like that there was some changes in the way they wrote their policies and things like that.
Yep, yeah, a little bit. The companies like especially like home policies or your farm policies or whatnot, when you write them, they will typically send a survey company out and to do an exterior survey on the property. When the pandemic hit, they stopped doing that, started leaning on us more to make sure the property's in good shape. There's no potential hazards and stuff on the property. They started leaning on us more to make sure that all of our ducks were in a row before we got the policies written. So they did tighten down and make things a little bit harder to get written during the pandemic as well.
So to let people know, in the last week or so, you've been added to the board of directors here at the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely.
And you and I had talked about this going back months.
Yep.
To work on getting you on. And what makes it so important in your mind to be part of an organization like this one, or just in the community in general? You work hand in hand with Gal Police and Lights as well, and some different organizations. What makes it so important in your mind to be a part of these community groups that are out trying to do different things in the area?
Sure. I just love being involved in the community. It's a big goal of mine. I love my town that I live in, where I'm from. So I just feel that it's my duty to do as much as I can to help out, give back, and just make our community and county as good as we can make it. And I'm just happy to be a part of the chamber, and I do want to thank you for bringing me on the board here. I really, really appreciate it, and I can't wait to get to work and see what all we do.
Well, I think you'll be a tremendous asset, and I look at I've known you since, our parents worked together when you were a very small child, so we go way back. I know both of your sisters well. I look at you, kind of growing up in the community and then getting into the insurance, but you and your wife, who I had the privilege of DJing your wedding, and that was a fun time. You both kind of have your hands in the small business side, kind of that side hustle.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people out there that are doing that kind of thing. And I want you to touch on that, kind of what you guys are doing, and just to mention, this will be coming out here in just a day or so, but we are having a lunch and learn session coming up on the 25th of May that deals with this kind of small business, your home-based online business. Yep. Where people can come and get information. Now that you've started this thing, and now it's kind of growing into something you maybe didn't expect. It was a weekend gig, and now you don't know, do I open a storefront? Do I need employees? And what does that mean to me? What steps do I have to take? Do I need an LLC? Do I need payroll taxes and this and that? So we're going to do that. Lunch is provided. It's at 11 o'clock on the 25th of May at the library. You can call our office at 740-446-0596 between now and I believe the 20th to get signed up for that. But talk a little bit about first your business. It's a unique thing to the area, and then your wife Morgan, who's got her business as well. And I want to kind of touch on those things and talk about kind of the benefit of that build it from home business.
Okay, yeah. So me and my wife Morgan, we got married last July 10th, and we were looking for a bar service to come do our wedding, and I reached out to a few around the Columbus area, and wasn't really having good luck finding somebody available to come do our wedding, or pricing was maybe just outrageous or more than I wanted to spend, or whatever the case may be. So led me to, I got my wheels turning. I was like, man, I could build one of those trailers and do it myself. And we happened to be driving out McCormick Road one day, and I seen this little horse trailer sitting along the side of the road. And I pulled in the driveway, and Morgan said, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to see if this guy wants to sell this trailer. So I pull in and knock on the door, and the old man comes to the door, and we got talking about the trailer. And long story short, I ended up leaving with the trailer hooked to my truck, and didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I knew I had a vision, and I wanted to see it come to life, and so that's what we done. We created the Three Dots Mobile Bar and Co. We debuted at our wedding, which you had the pleasure of seeing it there in action, and we're still adding things to it every day. But what we do or focus on is mobile bartending for weddings, corporate events, parties, things like that. We did also, you mentioned earlier, we got hooked up with Galplis and Lights. Want to give a big shout out to Sherry Rocky for having us come in this winter. All during the lighting at the city park, we done hot chocolate and coffee. That way people could, stay warm while they were walking around looking at the beautiful Christmas display that they do there in December. So it's definitely unique and different to the area. We're happy to have it, and it does bring a lot of fun and a different change of pace to our lives on the weekends and stuff whenever we do get it out and get to do it.
So I've always wondered since that first day, where the name Three Dots?
So Three Dots, actually my sister-in-law come up with it. It is Morse code for the letter S.
Oh, okay.
So obviously the last name Steinbeck, and then we also kind of thought, we're doing three things: beer, wine, and liquor with it.
Right.
So kind of a couple different takes you can go with it there, but that's kind of how we came up with it. And she ran it across me, and I kind of fell in love with it. So that's why we just took it and ran. So. And
then you mentioned Morgan. I think you may not admit it, but I think she's kind of the driving force behind these business adventures when it comes to the two of you.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about her business and her clothing shop and how it's grown from what it was as a pop-up on First Friday, from what I remember it as, in front of Saunders Insurance, to now kind of bursting at the seams.
Yep. So she started Backroads Boutique in June of 2020, right in the mix of the pandemic.
Right in the middle of the worst part.
So she run the idea by me, and she was like, what do you think? And I said, well, I'm not crazy about the timing, but go with it. See what happens. So she done all the footwork and got it going. But yeah, she's got an online clothing boutique. You can find her on Facebook, Backroads Boutique. She sells women's clothing, starting to get into a little bit of kids clothing as we have a little one on the way here in July. But yeah, she's sets up does a lot of pop-up shops at First Fridays. She does a vendor market herself, normally in the fall time, and partners up with Micah Holcomb with that. But yeah, right now she's doing the online and pop-ups and dabbling around with the idea of maybe opening the store. It's a conversation we've been starting to have, but we'll see how it goes and how it progresses here.
What do you think makes, because you see a lot, and we're seeing a slow but starting to build influx of small business kind of coming back into the area. Mm-hmm. Here at the Chamber, we're working with a couple of businesses that are well on their way to coming here. What makes Gallia County and Gallipolis, if you look at the downtown, enticing as a business owner to want to give it a go here? Yeah.
So obviously, just the charm that downtown Gallipolis has, it makes for a nice area to set up a small shop like that. And then you always have the loyalty of the people here in town. It seems like the people here in Gallia County try to stay local as much as they can and support the small businesses as much as they can. And I got to give props to the county for that, because that is what makes a small business go, is
Right.
your local support. If you don't have your local support, you're more than likely not going to make it. So the local support is you got to have it, and I think the downtown atmosphere here in Gallipolis it just is off the charts as far as supportage from the local community.
I'll jump back into insurance real quick. There's a lot of insurance companies in Gallia County that have been here for a long time.
Oh yeah.
We've had a few of them on the podcast, and I will say that every one of them are supportive. Saunders is a big supporter of what we do, but every agency has something that sets them a little different than the others. Looking at Saunders, you've been there for a little while now. What sets Saunders Insurance in its own kind of, like, what can they hang their hat on as that's unique to us?
I don't want to take away from any of the other agencies.
Right,
I mean,
absolutely, yeah. Everybody has that one thing, though.
Yep. But I would say that.
Let's rephrase it.
Okay.
What are you most proud of when it comes to Saunders Insurance and the things that they do and kind of what you offer?
Okay. Yeah. So I am proud of our community involvement as a whole with the office. We try to get involved in as many things as we can. We're big involved in I know the Hoop Project. We support the Gallia County Fair, tremendously. We get involved with River Rec and just so many other things that maybe don't get as much recognition, but we try to support all the schools and things. So just our community involvement that we have and that we strive to keep from year in and year out, I think is what makes us a great team and great for the community.
If you had advice to give to someone who is looking at their insurance policy and unsure about what they should do, or is looking to see what else is out there, different things, what advice can you give to someone when it comes to making sure that they're insured properly?
So the biggest thing is establishing a relationship with an agent. Call somebody here local. I am big on having a local agent, somebody you can go see and go talk to, or pick up the phone and talk to. There are options nowadays where you can call a 1-800 number and get insurance, or get online and get insurance, but you don't have that one-on-one support that small towns strive on. And I think that's big, is to have a relationship with a local agent, somebody you can go in and see and actually talk to, and take your policy and say, I don't quite understand this, what's this mean? And they can set you down and actually go through the policy with you and explain, what collision coverage covers and what comprehensive covers, and, just go through the policy with a fine-tooth comb for you.
And I think that's, part of being in a small town as well, is you may see your agent in the park or at Walmart. We had a funny story this morning. Someone had mailed something to us, and it had the right name, but it had the wrong address, and the person whose desk it actually showed up on was not on either of those. But because it's such a small town, the postmaster, whoever was sorting the mail, knew, well, this person's in charge of this. So even though it's the wrong address, we're going to get it to their desk. So I think that a lot of people look at small town living and they say, you don't have the selection, or you don't have the big box stuff, or you don't have this, or you don't have that, and I feel like that there is the positives outweigh the negatives. I lived in Columbus for about 7 years, and it's night and day. I lived at Polaris, which is completely different from here, but I wouldn't trade it. I mean, I like to go visit places, but as our theme for this year's River Rec is, I call it home.
Yeah.
And, that's something that I take pride in. People ask me, well, what's the chamber do? But the biggest question is, why are you always talking about, this or that? Pride.
Yeah.
I want, I've got a 9-year-old. I want her to grow up and experience the things that I experienced.
Sure.
and enjoyed, and, living on the river and being able to come and, kick a soccer ball around in the park, or go to McIntyre and walk the trail, or play ball, or fly a kite, whatever. It's the things that you can't do in the city. This small town, as much as we sometimes butt heads individually, I think in the long run, everybody wants to see the same thing. Yeah. It's the roads to get there may differ, but everyone wants to see our town grow. Absolutely. But at the same time, keep its home, the comfort of small town living. Kind of wrapping up, what do you personally? I mean, you're involved, like we talked about, in the community. What do you hope to see over the next, let's say, 5 years in Gay County?
I would like to see some growth. I think, we've hit on it a couple times here. This is home. We love the small town, but let's not lose sight of what the end goal is.
Right.
We do need some growth here, we need more jobs, bring in more people, make it more enticing to bring more and new people into the county. I just think we just need a little bit of growth and some new businesses coming in, and I think that's just going to make our county and our town more enticing for more people to move here. Some people might not agree and maybe think that the town with the size that it is perfect right now, and I'm not taking away from that. I mean, our town is, in my mind, it's perfect. I love our town, but I'm looking forward to my son growing up here as well, and I got to start looking towards the future and setting up a future for him.
Absolutely.
So I think growth would really help Gay County out a lot.
I agree, and I think we're on our way. I think if you look around and you take notice, there's development taking place throughout Gay County, and it's all for the best. And with the development, or in the neighboring areas, I think that we're bound to be able to grab a hold of some of that and build our own. Brad, I appreciate you stopping by.
Hey,
I look forward to all the things we're hopefully able to accomplish here at the chamber, and we'll have announcements coming. Don't forget, all of the River Rec registrations will be open Monday morning at 9 o'clock, and that's for the parade, talent show, baby tot, and ducks for the duck race will be on sale as well, and Rotary Mile signups will be available as well. You can go to GallipoliceRiverRec.com starting on Monday morning. Get registered for all of that. All your online payments can be taken there as well. Trying to think, River Rec, anything else? If you're interested in being in the River Rec committee, you can give us a call here at the office if you're interested in your group, or just yourself are interested in volunteering for the River Rec Festival. We can always use your help, so stop by, see us, or give us a call at 740-446-0596. Again, River Rec coming up, big entertainment coming. We're going to have a lot of fun. There's going to be some sights that you've probably never seen in Gallipolis before. So that's coming up. Follow along on the River Recreation Festival Facebook page or the Gay County Chamber of Commerce page. Don't forget, also, you can listen to this podcast every Sunday morning during the 8 o'clock hour on WJEH-FM 93.1 The Wolf. And it is available Friday afternoons on our Facebook page through a YouTube link. All that being said, until next time, we'll see you then.